Hello everybody, welcome once again to Centro Colombo Americano and to the Kids and Teens program. I hope your training has been going well and that I hope you have been learning a lot through this process. So in this video, I am going to be talking about communicative and interactive language teaching, which is like how to implement communication and interaction in the Kids and Teens program, okay? So we're going to start by checking on the objectives of this video. The first one is to identify the principles and characteristics of communication and interaction in the KTP. And the second one, to get familiar with the strategies for incorporating interaction in the KTP classes. Okay, so in order to understand all these concepts, first we need to refer to the definition. What's interaction? So interaction is the collaborative exchange of thoughts, feelings, or ideas that happen in a context, resulting in a reciprocal effect on each other. This is the definition by Brown, 1994. This is one of the most important core areas in the program, especially because students are always interacting among them, right? So the first thing at the moment of lesson planning and thinking about a communicative or interactive moment in class is to build it. That is the first stage, to build the interaction moment. Basically, in this part, we need to first create an atmosphere for interaction. That means a context. What is the topic that I want my students to talk about? Number two, guiding and training students on this is super key. It means that we need to give them conversation models. We need to train them on prompts, if we're talking a more advanced level, prompts for them to start an idea and to expand on the idea, expressions to get or to ask for help, expressions to negotiate meaning, like for example, in a conversation, like, do you want to be A or B in this model? Do you want to start or I start? Can you help me with this? What is the definition of? So all these expressions that are important at the moment of having a conversation, as well as, for example, greetings, saying hello and goodbye or thank you, agreeing or disagreeing, showing some reaction, showing surprise, asking extra questions and things like that. But we need to guide students and we need to train them on the use of these. Number three, every single moment of interaction should have a purpose and an outcome. What is it that I expect from my students after having a discussion moment in any part of the class? And number four, it's important for students to be prepared with some linguistic aspects, like what kind of vocabulary are they going to use, what kind of grammar, what kind of expressions are they supposed to implement at the moment of having the communication. Apart from this, there are some strategies that you can have for communicative activities, such as surveys, games, role plays, drama, find someone who, some brainstorming activities. Those are the moments where you can implement communication. For example, this is a survey, right? So this is an example of how, we need to, of course, model the activity. We need to guide the students in order to have this survey so they can exchange information to complete this activity. Or an information gap activity like this one. In somehow there should be communication and interaction for them to complete each other's information in the blanks that we are missing here. Good? So what kind of communication and interaction, or what kind of questions am I expecting from my students, or what kind of guidance am I giving to the students? That's something that you need to also plan in building the interaction moment. That is like the importance of the types of questions that you are going to make students discuss. Here you have a complete list of the different types of questions and the different examples that you can have depending on the question or the model that you want to implement for your interactive activity. The second stage is, while interaction is happening, you need to understand the first thing, the roles, the teacher's role and the student's role. The first one, there are different communicative and interactive activities along the class. Apart from the task, for example, the most important part, You can have interaction in the class preparation comparison, in a vocabulary activity, in a listening, in the grammar practice section, but there are different roles that we need to start managing. The first one, teacher as a gatherer. In all the moments of communication, the teacher should be collecting evidence of a student's performance. What ideas are they exchanging? How they are doing it. Number two, the teacher as a director and a facilitator, like the teacher is guiding the students all the time and telling them what to do, or making them follow some specific steps in the conversations. And finally, maybe in a freer practice, in a more spontaneous conversation from students, the teacher as a resource, like being there just in case that the students may need something. So then the teacher becomes a resource to help there. On the other hand, we have the student's role, which is basically we need to, once again, train students on this and guide them on the whole process in order for them to understand their role in the conversation, right? So maybe some negotiation of meaning, like in this conversation, do you want to be A or B? I want to be A, you can be B, right? So the importance of having or making them clear what their role is going to be in the conversation and what to do and what to expect from them. There can be a third role, for example, like having a C student, the third student, who is probably not speaking in the conversation, but probably taking notes about the performance for their feedback, okay? Additionally, it is good for students, or to make students aware of the importance of being a good listener, to always pay attention to their classmates' ideas and to contribute in the conversation. That means like by means of expanding on ideas, asking extra questions, agreeing or disagreeing, all the different communication strategies that they can have in a conversation. One of the most important things also here that are while everything is happening in a conversation is to have clear the importance of group work. There are 5 things, or there are 5 reasons why group work is really important. Number 1, it gives responsibility to students, for example, because they have to accomplish a specific role, otherwise communication won't be successful. Number 2, it fosters more opportunities for interaction, like students are going to have even more along the levels. As they are going level by level, they are going to find more opportunities for them to expand on ideas and to create conversations spontaneously. Number 3, it builds rapport among students. Believe it or not, like the more opportunities that you give students to talk among themselves, the better they get to know each other, and the better they create a safe environment in the classroom. Number 4, it gives chances for error correction. So you as a teacher, it is going to be really difficult for you to be in 5 or 6 conversations at once, right? So basically, when we have group work and when we assign, of course, the roles and we guide the students and we train them on this, there are chances for them to have error correction, for them to give feedback, for them to analyze the language that they are using. And finally, it develops monitoring skills in students. Like once they get accustomed to communication and interaction, they start being more familiar with all this. So the third stage is after interaction has ended, and basically there are 2 concepts that are important here. Number 1, feedback is key. Like make general comments based on evidence that you have gathered. That means, like, for example, some mistakes, some things that you have found important in the different conversations that you listen to, so the students can have like a general comment for further analysis. And number 2, avoid repetition, which is a misconception and misunderstanding of communication. Like every time, some teachers think, or some people think that after students have taught, we need to elicit the information, but that is like repetition, because we're asking students to tell us the same things that they had previously discussed. Instead, what we can have is to give room for outcomes from students, like what they found out after having the specific conversation. There are some challenges that we may face at the moment of planning and having interaction moments in our classes. There are 4 main challenges that you need to start thinking about. Number 1, students may use native language, in our case Spanish. They would resort to the use of this as soon as they finish a communication activity. Students won't expand on ideas, like they won't use conversation strategies for them to expand, or students won't follow the models that we present to them, or maybe students may not like to work in groups. So this is like the importance of building a safe environment in our classes, okay? So the next part that is related to all this is like the principles that we should include in our KTP classes, in every single class. So there are 6 principles that we need to take into account at the moment of including communication and interaction in our classes. Number 1, there must be 3 moments of interaction minimum, being 1 the task. Good. Number 2, to promote the use of English consistently, like through different activities in the class, like in the vocabulary, as I said, or comparing class preparation, checking on grammar, or even the grammar practice, right? But 1 has to be the task, once again, like the main core area of the whole class. Number 3, to implement moments for exchanging information and negotiating meaning by means of classroom expressions, once again, or communication strategies like agreeing or disagreeing, asking for help, asking for clarification, negotiating meaning, all these strategies that are useful for students in order also to reduce the use of the first language, in this case Spanish. Number 4, to provide interaction models or prompts, and once again, those prompts and models are supposed to be adapted depending on the level taught, right? Maybe in more advanced courses we can have some prompts for them to start their discussion and for them to expand on ideas, right? But at the beginning we can have like more controlled models for students. But once again, there is a misconception here, and it is not only for students to complete the lines in a model, but it is to give them opportunities to reach a certain degree of spontaneity, which is my point number 5 here, right? We need to encourage students to expand on the conversation model, to agree or disagree, to show some reaction, something that is actually part of the real communication outside the classroom as well. And number 6, to guide students to use the language and communication strategies according to the level, right? Like, what is it that we present to students that we expect them to use? Good. So pretty much all these ideas are related to how we implement communication and interaction in the KTP classes, okay? So in order to get ready for our session, there is going to be a little pre-assignment, okay, that you need to bring to the session and to send to my email. The first question is, how have you or your head teacher implemented communication and interaction moments in class? What have been some challenges related to implementing effective communication and interaction moments in class? Like, what of those challenges have you seen? And number 3, think about and describe one successful moment in your classes where interaction and communication was presented. Okay, so that is the pre-assignment, guys. I hope that you have enjoyed the video. I hope that you have learned I hope you have gotten a better picture of how communication and interaction should be presented, and I'll see you in the session. I hope you continue learning on all this process. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching the video.